Welcome to another episode of Stick Shift Stories. In today's episode, we're going to be asking ourselves one simple question. Why can't we buy a small, compact pickup truck in 2020? We're looking for something that's lightweight, gets good fuel efficiency, is cheap to buy, is cheap to operate, easy to repair, and easy to park and maneuver. To get an accurate baseline of what this truck should be, we have a 2001 Toyota Tacoma regular cab 4x2 finished off in super white with an oak interior to use as our benchmark and try to figure out why a truck like this is no longer being made. Let's start off by looking at the size of the first generation Toyota Tacoma regular cab. And I think it was one of its strongest suits. The size of the regular cab with a wheelbase of 103.3 inches gave the truck agility on road, and if you got the 4x4 version off-road, to be a true rock crawler or mall crawler, as they say. And because of that, when you look at a 2020 accesscab, the wheelbase is 127.4 inches long, because they stopped offering the regular cab models as of the 2014 model year with the second generation Toyota Tacoma. So it's a big difference, not only in the wheelbase, but the weight of the vehicle when you compare it to the 2020 Access Cab variant. On the flip side though, you could definitely argue that the newer pickup trucks have more standard features and are built to be safer than the early 2000s pickup trucks. Taking a look at the styling, which is highly subjective, you could make an argument that the early 2000s pickup trucks, like the Ford Ranger, Chevrolet S10, Nissan Frontier, and this first generation Toyota Tacoma, were not only handsome, but weren't afraid to show off what they were. A lot of these vehicles were sold as regular cab, rear-wheel drive, four-cylinder base pickup trucks. And you know what? You can totally tell when you look at the truck that it's not expensive, it's not lifted, it doesn't have fancy wheels or tires, and that's okay. Because they were cheap to buy and they were easy to repair when the time came. When combined with the 6-foot bed that can be seen on this Toyota Tacoma, it's actually a very useful setup because it's easy to drive but still has that big bed if you want to go to Home Depot or the gardening nursery. All things considered, these trucks gave you what you needed for a low price, and that's a lot of usability for a vehicle that didn't cost a lot of money. The wheels on this compact pickup truck measure 205 by 75 R15, and they're all-season radials on 15-inch steel wheels. You may be saying that we don't have compact pickup trucks anymore because the fuel efficiency and the aerodynamics of these older pickup trucks aren't up to the standards that are required by CAFE regulations and fuel efficiency mandates that we have today. And you might be right. However, I do think there's some solutions that would help with this issue. First, you could have a unibody with a front-wheel drive architecture so that you had less drivetrain loss than a front-engine rear-wheel drive pickup truck may have. Additionally, you could have something like a clean diesel or a smaller 3-cylinder turbocharged engine to get to the high fuel efficiency standards and clean air regulations that we have today. There's also the option to make the vehicle fully electric, which has been done before on vehicles like the Ranger EV. This would initially make the vehicle a zero emissions vehicle. It could go in the HOA lanes and it would have very low maintenance. While I really like the front engine rear-wheel drive layout like most of the compact pickup trucks had back in the day, I would be willing to accept a front-wheel drive pickup truck if it was cheap, easy to repair, and offered the same utility as these early 2000 pickup trucks. I mean, listen to that sweet 4-cylinder power. So you may be wondering, what has changed in 19 years in terms of displacement, horsepower, and pound-feet of torque? Well, the difference is less than you may know. The 2001 regular cab sports a 2.4-liter DOC EFI 4-cylinder engine that made 142 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 160 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. When you compare that to the 2020 accesscab, it uses a 2.7-liter DOC EFI 4-cylinder with 159 horsepower produced at 5,200 RPM and 180 pound-feet of torque at 3,800 RPM. The difference is 0.3 liters, around 17 horsepower, and 20 pound-feet of torque. Take a look at the MPG figures. You'll notice that they're essentially identical. However, the basic SR accesscab with the 2.7-liter does not come with a manual transmission, just a 6-speed automatic transmission, and its combined EPA MPG is 21 miles per gallon, similar to the 2001 regular cab 4-cylinder 5-speed manual. So not as big of a difference as you may think, especially considering that there's 19 years between these two models. Hopefully, companies like Tesla and Rivian can use economies of scale and use their fully electric powertrains in compact pickup trucks once the price of manufacturing these products comes down. While a lot of manufacturers are developing full-size ultra-luxury pickup trucks with big V8 engines that cost in excess of $50,000, the small compact pickup truck market has left wanting for something new for a very long time. And even though you could argue that the profit margins are less on something that's smaller and more compact, there is still a market for it, and it could be produced using vehicle parts from other vehicles currently in use to bring the R&D costs down and the purchase price low. In my opinion, I do feel like there is a market for a compact pickup truck in the United States. When you look at the interior of this first generation Toyota Tacoma, the first thing that comes to mind is its wonderful simplicity. Everything is easy to reach, easy to use, and there's nothing complex. For someone that's going to be using a truck to work or haul things, they don't need fancy screens, seat heaters, and all this other stuff. A good air conditioner, a good heater, a manual transmission with 3 pedals, and an interior that allows you to get work done with a relative amount of comfort. And I think that first generation Toyota Tacoma interior is a good reflection of that. Now, newer cars obviously have a lot more electronics and technology built into the vehicle, but if you want something that's bare bones and basic and you don't want to pay for all that technology, and you would gladly accept something that's a little bit more simple, don't you think that that could bring the price down of a brand new compact truck? I don't know, what are your thoughts? Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. So, what was the cost of this 2001 Toyota Tacoma rear-wheel drive 2.4 cylinder with the 5-speed manual transmission? Well, the grand total was $13,302 after you took into account the $1,375 enhancement package, the $50 digital clock, and the $52 carpeted floor mats. In all, the vehicle was pretty inexpensive back then, and if you extrapolate $13,302 to our current day inflation adjusted total, you'd have a little bit more than $19,000. And I think for $19,000, this truck is a great deal because it's reliable, it's easy to drive, it doesn't have a lot of things that generally go wrong, and the fuel mileage is acceptable. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Please let me know what you think. Is it worth any automaker to develop a compact pickup truck in 2020? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and please stay tuned for the next video.